Hello and good morning, listeners. Welcome back to Almus Market Mornings, your daily dose of global financial updates. I'm your host, Swaraj Rajagopal, and we have got you covered on everything from currency shifts to pivotal central bank decisions and important speeches. Plus, you'll gain expert analysis on macroeconomic data that's shaping the market narrative right now. Join us for this episode and navigate the markets with confidence.
The tariff games are firmly afoot. Yesterday's potential tariffs are today's reality. Now, the US has imposed 25% tariff without exemption on all aluminium and steel imports into the country. The US imports 82% of its aluminium requirement and 17% of its steel requirement. Major trading partners affected would be Canada, Mexico, the EU, but primarily Canada, which has almost 60% share in the US aluminium imports and 20% in the steel imports. Good morning, JK. With this tariff in place, do you foresee another lever Mr. Trump has gained to negotiate? I think he did something very similar in his first term as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think this term also we have seen, these initial actions on Canada and Mexico, and imposing 25% tariff in general, and then coming back and saying it will be postponed by a month. That gave him a leverage to negotiate. And even this case also, there is a White House statement which says that proclamation on steel and aluminum tariff will be taking effect only from March 4th. It's almost 25 days from today. So it does give time for other countries to negotiate. Yes, definitely depends a lot on imported steel and aluminum, and therefore, if it depends on how the other countries react. Canada is a major exporter, almost more than 60%. And of course, other countries like Brazil, Mexico, South Korea, Vietnam, and China are also there. Canada is definitely contemplating what retaliatory action to take. So even though if it is March 4th, but it does look like, there will be, there can be eventually lesser tariff, but that depends on how the countries negotiate. Apart from this, he has also mentioned about tariffs on cars, chips, and pharmaceuticals. There is also a statement which says that the reciprocal tariffs will take place either on Tuesday or Wednesday. That will apply to all countries, and that includes India as well. And one of the statements said India has a high tariff on American goods that are being imported by India. So I think it's all over place. And if the final shape of the tariff and how the countries are going to retaliate, and how eventually the global trade and the global economy is going to evolve. Historically, a similar thing when it happened in 1918. I think eventually it led to a huge trade war and a global economic slowdown. And that's what the fear is. This is something that still evolving, and we have to wait and see how this will actually, take shape in the coming days. In the meantime, the talk of reciprocal tariff actually would affect India significantly, and that sentiment drove rupee to an all-time low near 88 yesterday, which was almost 50 paisa higher from where it closed on Friday. However, the central bank's massive intervention reversed the whole move and brought the pair to where it was trading on Friday. And in the process, a lot of longs got stopped out, apart from leading some exporters to hedge as well. But it was definitely a massive move. I think in the last 1 week, we have seen a big two-way move in the USD INR. There is some unconfirmed report that India will reduce more tariffs on the US ahead of PM Modi's visit with Mr. Trump in the coming days also. So again, this is something which is not clear, and how Trump will view that, and whether he will make some concessions. He has made concession to Australia. He has exempted them from the aluminum and steel tariff because Australia runs, US runs a trade surplus with Australia. So it all depends on case to case basis eventually, and how it will evolve with India is important. But coming back to rupee, I think while the central bank has intervened, and I think the sentiment remains the same. The uncertainty about tariffs and other US policies remain. Dollar remains strong. flows remain negative. Again, yesterday we had outflow of 300 million. Now, this month alone, we have almost touched 10 billion in equity outflow. And that's not giving any comfort to the rupee. If at all there are any rupee bulls left in the market. Now, going away from the rupee, all eyes are also on Europe because Trump has only talked about imposing tariffs, but he has actually stopped short of announcing anything specific on Europe. So, market is trying to discount that there will be heavy tariff on Europe because Europe exports a lot of automobiles, and this is one area which is still to be fully discounted. So, meantime, euro is within 1 cent of its all-time low. I mean, recent low against the USD. And of course, at least for the day, focus will shift. When there is not much of economic data due today. So focus shifts to Mr. Powell, who is scheduled to appear before the Joint Economic Committee biennial testimony, which is expected to provide insights into the economic outlook and recent monetary policies. I don't expect him to tell anything different from he has been saying, because he cannot react to the announcements that are on the way, because it's still too early to see what shape they take and what kind of effect they will have. But he basically is going to say that the economy is still in good shape and that it is in an above trend growth. Fed has time and can be patient in reducing the rates, etc. So that no, it may not be such a market mover, but still market will await for any surprises. Perhaps there will be questions about interest rates, as Mr. Trump himself has asked for lowering the interest rates. Meantime, there has been of course, some discomforting news on the Middle East side. Israel Defense Minister has said that it will. There is a reaction to Hamas announcing that it will stop releasing hostages, and Israel minister has said that it is a violation of the ceasefire deal, and he has actually instructed military to prepare at the highest level of readiness in Gaza. So the thing is not going away wholly. So an eye will be kept on the developments in Middle East, along with Ukraine and Russia war, where it's rumored, or it is being stated that Mr. Trump has been having discussions with Putin for ending the war, but it is definitely nothing conclusive is being heard about the matter. So overall, markets are in a state of flux, and every day it's moving with announcements. Again, the announcements itself, final shape, what they will take, it's not very clear. But one thing is very clear: dollar is not ending its strength. The safe haven status of the dollar is continuing, and it continuously in demand. And don't forget that in US stock markets are still doing well, and US bond markets offer good, safe interest rates at 4.5%. So the dollar index, or rather the dollar's bull trend, is still very much in place, and that is the thing that we are most concerned about. For the rupee, I think 87.30 will be a very strong zone of support. I don't think RBS action actually is trying to change the trend. I think because of the big gap up on news, that's what they were trying to address. As governor has stated, their actions are intended to controlling volatility, not to set a direction. So that's what we believe, and therefore on the dip, dollar rupee still remains a buy. Thank you.
Thank you, JK. And just quickly summarizing, I think from what you said, I remember history rhymes. So some things are similar to the President Trump's first term. So these tariffs on aluminum and steel imports were also imposed in his first term, and they are, as of now, all set to take effect from March 4th. And US runs a trade surplus with Australia, and they may be getting an exemption, as JK mentioned, from all these tariffs. On the other hand, reciprocal tariffs would take place soon. So essentially, these are tariffs imposed by countries on American goods. The same level of tariffs would be imposed by the US on their goods. So this is very significant, and it would impact India. On this news, rupee went as low as 87.90 yesterday, but a very big intervention by the central bank resulted in rupee closing much stronger than its opening level yesterday. But the fundamentals remain similar. The flows remain negative for India, and that will cause a lot of pressure for rupee. Markets are also now anticipating tariffs on Europe, which exports quite a bit of automobiles to the US. So any tariffs on the automobile imports may result in further pressure on the euro. But overall, market seems to be reactionary, and the dollar strength trend continues as of now. That's it from us today. Thanks for listening. Tune in tomorrow for the latest in the financial markets.